Leart Paqarada, well, he looks to be the latest name linked to Bristol City. Left back who played for Cologne under Gerhard Struber. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about him in this video. So where does this rumour come from, first of all? Well, we got a tweet here from Jasko1948, who looks like a sort of Bosnian football account. Leart is, I think that's the Kosovan flag, so he's from Kosovo. And he's reported essentially that Bristol City are after Leart Paqarada, that's how you pronounce it. So yeah, looks like obviously Gerhard Struber's got a good relationship with him. He actually misplaced, so I believe before Gerhard joined Cologne, there was a guy called, you can see there, Max Finkgraffer, who came from Leipzig, displaced him as the starting left back for Cologne. Obviously, they won the title last year in the Bundesliga too. And I think he's coming into one of the last years of his contract, so it's the last chance that Cologne would get to get some money for him. And I think this also links to what we've seen with previous Bristol City managers as well. Both Nigel Pearson and Liam Manning have brought in trusted players from their previous club. You think Nigel Pearson bringing in Andy Keane, Matty King, Matty James from Leicester, of course, and Manning bringing Scott Twine, not quite the level that Nigel Pearson did. So it's not unheard of for the Bristol City board, I think Brian Tinney and John Lansdowne, to accept a transfer of like one or two players from a manager's past. And it looks like this guy could sort of tick that box. And also, before we get into stats and stuff about the player, I think there's a potential narrative behind this transfer, which is why I'm making a video about it, because I don't think it's unfounded at all. I think Bristol City are likely, especially at the start of the season, going to have to play with a back three. And I think, quite possibly with McNally being out at least, the best Bristol City back three probably has Cam Pring on the left side of the three. I would personally trust him in that position, which leaves a gap for someone to play in that left wing back spot. And the natural fit you would have for that based on players available is probably Ross McCrory, who played there last year, but he's right-footed. And then you have Hayden Roberts, who, I have nothing against Hayden Roberts personally, and I hope he actually proves me wrong with this comment, but I think a lot of fans, including myself, probably don't want him starting for Bristol City every week. So there is a gap there for, an attacking left back who could play left wing back. And if there was one I think criticism you could have of Cam Pring as well, the player who would naturally play there if he wasn't playing at left centre back, was he probably doesn't do quite enough going forward. So if you could bring in an attacking left-sided defender to nail down that left wing back spot, this guy could be a good fit. And also, I think one of the gaps that we have in the Bristol City squad, particularly with the departure of Nahki Wells, is we've got a really young squad at the moment. I couldn't tell you how many players we've got over 30 or above, but it's very low. So a player at this age, I think, there's obviously games played as that counts as experience, but there's just life experience and maturity as well. I'm not saying our squad doesn't necessarily have the maturity side, but you know what I mean. I think bringing in a guy of this age would help with the age profile of the squad as well. So whilst it's one tweet from a Bosnian account I've never heard of, I do think there's potential legs for this, and it wouldn't be a stupid transfer to get over the line. All right, so like I've done with quite a lot of these transfer targets videos, I've consulted ChatGPT once again to tell me a little bit more about the player. I've asked it to give me a forward slide breakdown, so there's 4 sections I think worth talking about, and then I've got a website I found where there's some really good stats comparing him to other players in the second division in Germany, so we get a sense of areas of the game that he excels in or probably doesn't do so well in. So we already know his name. He's 30 years old, 1.84 metres, which I think is bang on 6 foot tall, so brings a bit of height along. Can also play left mid and left wing back too, primarily left back. So I think, if we were to play a back three, it sounds like he'd be pretty comfortable playing left wing back. He's contracted to June next year, so this is going into his final year of his deal at Cologne. So if we were to pay a fee, it's the last chance Cologne would get a fee. And also, if he displaced another player as left back last season, it probably means that, depending on what the new manager at Cologne thinks, he could be surplus to requirements. Played 28 games internationally for Kosovo, scoring 1 goal. You see his career there. I won't go through all the teams, but they're sort of second or lower top division German teams. So I don't know how that level compares with the Championship, but anyway, he played 48 appearances, or made 48 appearances for Cologne, and was, I think, Gerhard's favoured left back at Cologne. Last season, he played 31 league games, 2,530 minutes, 4 cup matches, got 8 assists in that time. I think 8 assists in 31 games for a left back is very, very good. They conceded, well, you can see the defensive stats there, 7 yellow cards and 1 red. So actually, I don't mind the 7 yellow cards. I think if there's one thing we're missing in the City squad, it's a little bit of nastiness. And a player that got 8 cards in 31 games, as many cards as he got assists, to be honest. It's actually not too bad. And I guess the position, naturally, you pick up some cards as well. Looks like he's pretty creative, good decent from a defensive point of view. And yeah, offers a bit of attacking threat on that left side, which I think if we're playing Pring at left wing back, he's probably not attacking enough to truly excel as a wing back, but he offers a lot of defensive capability, I think. So maybe bringing in this guy to be that sort of attacking outlet on the left side, if we were to play a back three, would be a good idea. And again, just going back to that narrative of previous managers, Scott Twine for Liam Manning, Matty James and Andy King for Pearson, he's an experienced player, played under our current manager at a previous club. Yeah, I think that's the kind of calibre of signing that we might want to make based on what we've done previously. All right, then I'm looking at a website. In fact, I'll just resize this so you can see it on screen. I'm looking at a website now called footystats.com. I'll leave a link to it in the description below so you can check it out for yourself, particularly, obviously, Leart's page. So you've got stats here from all of the competitions that he played in. It's like clean sheet percentage, and then it goes into a bit more detail. So I'll go through this. So he played 31 games in the second division in Germany last year, conceded 27 goals, so less than 1 goal per game, which I think is pretty good. 11 clean sheets. And yeah, you can see there, 8 cards. Played in international friendlies in the Nations League as well. So, that's fairly big stage experienced players. What have we got there? Yeah, played a good number of games, 82 minutes per appearance. So, you think a left back that played 82 minutes per game in a Gerhard Struber team, you think he'd be pretty, solid and resilient physically to do that with the pressing system that he plays. What have we got here? Anything interesting? So, yeah, appeared in, pretty high for tackles, so 2 tackles per 90, which is in the top, better than 81% of the German second division. Interceptions better than 62%. Ground duels, not so well in terms of duels, I guess. Aerial duels sort of average, ground duels sort of average. Dribble pass quite a lot though, by the looks of it. Dribble pass almost once per game. Made a fair few clearances, good for shots blocked. But yeah, I'd worry a little bit about how many times he was dribble passed. In terms of total cards, actually, I thought that looked quite bad, but he ranked sort of averagely for that. Goal involvement pretty high, top better than 59% of the league. Shots taken, he's hit the woodwork twice. I guess that's a little bit of an outlier stat. Takes a fair few shots, but it's really where his creativity it comes into play. So he ranks in the 88th percentile for assists, even higher for expected assists, so 9.63 expected assists. That's nearly 1 expected assist per game that he played. You can see there, 1 per every 3 games that he played. I think that's a really good number. 96th percentile for that. Really good for total number of passes, key passes, crosses, successful crosses in the top 99th percentile in the league. So I think if you sign this guy, he's going to be pretty good for putting balls in the box, which I would probably say is something that perhaps our fullbacks currently struggle with. So yeah, you're looking at one of the best players in the second division in Germany for crossing. Dribbling, not so great for dribbling. Dispossessed quite a bit. Not so great on the ball by the looks of it. But I guess the key stat to focus on is that sort of crossing creativity in the top 99th percentile in the German second division. All right, well, that's the end of the video. A little bit of coverage there on Leart. I'm going to remember his name. We're just going to scroll up. Leart Paqarada. There you go. A little bit of coverage on him after that transfer rumour. Who knows if we're going to sign him? Who knows if that account is legit? I think the story kind of lines up with our transfer strategy in previous seasons under different managers. And yeah, I think he's definitely a favourite of Gerhard Struber and certainly offers a bit of attacking threat on that left-hand side, particularly I think if we were to play him at wing-back. I don't think he displaces Cam Pring in a back four. I wouldn't want him to, but I think if he were to play at left wing-back, he'd be a pretty good signing. So if you enjoyed the video, leave me a like rated. Let me know in the comments what you think of Leart. And yeah, I'll catch you in my next video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Robin's Nest YouTube channel. Should be just here on your screen. All right, thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you in my next video.